G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is the WH-77 light support weapon. This is a highly customizable standalone LMG type weapon in Fallout 4, so yeah, it's a pretty decent looking thing. As you can tell here, it's got a few design elements from the assault rifle of the vanilla game. It does use the assault rifle animations, so our reloads are going to be nippy, so that's pretty good. So we've got the carry handle there, we've got the foregrip here that is sort of under here, pretty far down compared to the other weapons like a combat rifle, and you've also got that thing there. I think that's a bipod mount, I could be wrong. You've also got the same iron sight there, and on the back of that, that's actually textured. If you actually look at the assault rifle's regular iron sights, there isn't a texture on this side of the thing, which is kind of strange. It also has the same trigger. That trigger definitely looks very familiar, but yeah, it's got the same sort of design. We'll get into these attachments. Now, first of all, you can chuck on a whole heap of receivers for 3 different calibers. You've got the 5.56s, the 308s, and the 5mm there. So if you've got a whole bunch of 5mm rounds from a minigun you're not using, then chucking them in here is a pretty good idea. That'll actually give you a little bit less rate of fire, unfortunately. I think to balance it out, I'd give myself more rate of fire, but whatever. You get a little bit of armor penetration, but I want to chuck 5.56s into this just for a starting point there. We'll go for the advanced automatic, which is probably a cut above the powerful automatic, and we should probably need that. Doing 141 damage there doesn't seem all that great. Now for the barrels, yeah, they've got a whole heap of barrels. They sort of extend with length each time and give you higher benefits to accuracy and range. We'll go for that one. That one gives us the best benefits. And for the stocks, we'll go for a recoil compensating stock there. And okay, so that's just like a marksman stock, but it's called the assault stock for some reason. It's got a little cheek rest there. Yes, the recoil compensating stock looks a lot like the Vladorf stocks for your sniper rifles in Borderlands 2, so yeah, that's kind of cool. Now for the magazines, you can chuck on a massive box thing there, and it seems to feed okay. There's a little bit of empty space here where the rounds actually go in, so I'm not sure what that's all about, but whatever, we'll go with that. And for the sights, you've got a little bit of a choice here, so you can chuck on the standard sights. You've got the reflex and combat scopes, which are see-through scopes, and going into third person will allow you to use this thing pretty much as an iron sight thing, so that covers you for both medium range and super close range, which is neat. And I'm guessing these scopes are actually ones that close your vision up, which is a little bit better for the sniper type things of this weapon. But this is an LMG. We'll chuck on a reflex sight there, why not? And for the muzzles, we'll definitely go for a suppressor for not only better damage but stealth capabilities. They are very useful. And there you go, there is a bipod there. You can actually have a bipod mounted there. We'll have it open because why not? And you can change the front side if you feel like it. We probably don't need it seeing as we've got a reflex light there, but we're going to have it on anyway for aesthetic reasons. And of course you can change the rounds on this, so right now we've got jacketed soft point, they're standard. FMJs will actually give you reduced damage but better armor penetration. Same thing with armor piercing, although a little bit higher damage to damage there but more armor penetration. And jacketed hollow point will actually give you increased damage with no drawback, so we'll definitely do that. Doing 207 damage with this thing, no legendary effects needed. Let's take this thing into Gunner's Plaza. We'll grab a couple of others too, why not? We've spent enough time at the workbench, but it's also worth mentioning this thing has different colors you can chuck on it. So we'll go for, let's say, a army trim there. If you chuck on the rust one, that actually gives you a whole lot less damage and fire rate. And I originally spawned this thing with console commands, and it had the rust perk on it, and I didn't actually realize that that actually gave you less damage, so I thought this weapon was going to be terrible, but I was wrong. Alright, enough of that. Let's get into Gunner's Plaza, for reals this time. Okay, so here we are in semi-lit Gunner's Plaza. Yeah, I'm trying out seeing if disabling certain lights can improve my frame rate a little bit. I'm not sure if this will stay forever. Anyways, here is our WH-77 in first person there, and aiming down sights looks pretty good. Now, something about this reflex sight is just overly huge. I think that reticule is way too big. It could be used to just, make that smaller. That'd be good. It's also really dazzling too. You can barely see anything past it, so that's kind of annoying, but whatever. So here we are on third person of this weapon, and of course the animations line up perfectly. This mod is very good for doing that, and just because this thing is using assault rifle animations doesn't mean it's going to be heaps of intrusive in your face either. This thing is actually quite a little bit smaller than the standard assault rifle, so as you can tell, you can get a lot of screen spacing out of this, so yeah, it's not going to feel as constricting, which is great. Anyways, we'll get stuck into some of these gunners here. You can tell this thing is going to be dealing a whole lot of damage with sneak attack criticals, as well as the high fire rate on this thing. And also, this thing is actually really good with its hip fire too, so we could probably just get away with hip firing this thing. Considering the sights aren't that good anyway, it's probably a good way to go, but whatever. As you can tell, we can get a nice stagger into these guys, and they'll die. I'm pretty sure this scales with commando like the assault rifle, but I wouldn't be surprised if it scaled with heavy gunner, so if it does, make sure you are spec'd into that to get the most out of this weapon, and you will get quite a lot out of this weapon. This is just tearing through gunners. I'm actually going to check my difficulty, because this is a little... Okay, we're on very hard, so yeah, this thing just seems to be super powerful, which is strange because I predicted it to be a little bit less than powerful. Anyways, this is a 308 receiver now of the semi-auto variety, so we're not going to be killing these guys as fast. There's Captain Bridget, and it does indeed work with sniper there, and even in third person, it does work. So yeah, you can do pretty well with this weapon no matter what, which is kind of great. Versatility is always a nice thing to have in your weapons, although they're getting on top of us at this point. This thing's DPS isn't good enough. Also, Captain Bridget doing those nice new 10mm animations that War Daddy made, very good. Okay, we'll switch over to our 5mm one with the big old drum mag on the side there, and yes, we're doing a whole lot better damage there. Now, something interesting to note about the damage of this thing is that the receivers, the semi-auto ones, don't have any damage benefits like the vanilla semi-auto receivers do, so you will actually lose a whole lot of DPS if you choose to use this thing with semi-auto receivers. So maybe the modder intended this thing to be used with the good old auto receivers only, which makes sense for a light support weapon. Yeah, I'll give them that. So you can use this thing as a sniper knockdown type weapon, but I would recommend taking a different gun along with you for the sniping things, and I do recommend not using the hunting rifle. This probably actually does make a better sniper than the hunting rifle due to its semi-automatic nature, but that's really not saying much. The hunting rifle is a pile of trash of a weapon, much like my aim. But we're in caution again. We can quickly sneak around the corner, and hopefully we won't get into nerd rage by the time we're done with Gunner's Plaza. That's a legendary gunner. She's a little bit tougher. Also, she likes to get pushed along by her other gunner brethren, which is strange. Haha, that's what you get for using a regular assault rifle. Get down. There we go. And I think we've killed the turret on that. No, we haven't. I thought we did, but we didn't. So with the 308 receiver semi-auto one, we'll just quickly finish that off. Why not? And there's a little... it's a little bit too late to get angry, Phoebe. Just have a stim pack and you'll get your revenge later. Anyways, so there you go. That was a WH-77 in Gunner's Plaza there. Very impressed with this weapon so far. Great customization, great damage output, which is good. I typically like weapons that perform well. If you've watched my channel for a while, this is probably not a surprise to you. We'll move on to something else. Okay, so now we've got a combat scope of the 4x variety, so we get a decent zoom out of this, and also we've got the rapid 308 auto receiver here, so we should be able to gun down these targets from very long range, which is pretty good so far. So good, although that was only a basic gunner. And the good thing about having a scope this big is that you can pretty much hold down the trigger, and as long as you're aiming generally where the people are at, you can have decently good accuracy. So I have to wait for these people to come out. I think there's one hiding behind that gun bench there. And as you can tell, the impacts of this weapon... Ooh, a little bit of a frame rate hiccup there as I managed to get a nice triple kill there. But yeah, this thing has the same sort of bullet impact effect as the minigun. And if you don't believe me, pick up a minigun and start shooting at the ground. They have all these kind of subtle explosion effect despite only firing tiny 308. So I'm not sure what's going on there. That's just how they've done it. So now we'll just go ahead and kill some of these super mutants before they kill us. And I believe that super mutant is carrying one, and I decided not to crouch while killing those guys because I don't know. But as you can tell there, despite not being crouched and not getting the damage from the sneak attack criticals, we actually did pretty well in eliminating that dude there. And also, we can just easily gun these super mutants down from this angle with a nice open scope here. So I really am liking the open scopes. It kind of makes me want to download the see-through scope so I could do this for all vanilla weapons, but I think they're balanced properly with the tunnel vision nonsense that they are, even though it's a little bit annoying to fade in and out of the screen every time you try to look through a scope. I really wish that mechanic wasn't in Fallout 4. We'll go ahead and just tap fire to get that dude down, make sure random deviation doesn't completely ruin our aim. And the visual recoil of this weapon is probably another reason why they didn't decide to do much of the of the see-through scopes, because, and what I do mean by visual recoil is just look how much the gun is bouncing around when I'm shooting, so it's a little bit hard to actually tell when you're aiming that. A little bit hard to tell where the center of the screen is and where your bullets will be going, so I guess that is another reason why they would have made the scope in a fade transition, but yeah, that works. Anything over sort of 4 times, the bouncing around of the sight gets a little bit excessive, so I believe that's a happy medium at like 2.5, so alright, so not getting sneak attack crits on that guy, getting about 100 damage each time, rounding that up a little bit, but yeah, we can do pretty well there also. We probably should have got detected there on account of being in the spotlight, but no, we didn't, which is good, because super mutants are tanky as hell, and I really can't be bothered shooting that guy with 47 bullets before he drops. Ha! That's only a basic super mutant, so we'll just quickly sprint up, sneak up, kill him, and I believe there is one doggo in this cage. Would have liked to see centaurs in this game, actually. Whilst the mutant doggos sort of look the part, they look alright, look kind of scary, they look menacing enough, but they're nowhere near as interesting or creepy as the centaurs were, so a little bit of a missed opportunity there, although I do like the mutant doggos. Maybe if they could have both, although they'd have the same sort of role as the super mutant, so probably having both is not an ideal thing. But anyways, we'll go ahead and shoot Gerald here. As you can tell, whilst he's getting constantly sneak attack critted, getting about 600 damage each time. If we zero in the head, double that, and he is down before we even finish our mag there. So this is going to be an absolutely yeah, it's going to annihilate everything, which may be overpowered, but you know what, as a heavy weapon, I'm going to assume this is a heavy weapon. This is kind of what they need to be, because heavy weapons in vanilla Fallout 4, not really doing it for me most of the time, unless you get one of those rapid Gatling lasers with the charge up barrels, then mint. Anyways, so that was a WH-77 light support weapon against a bunch of super mutants and a little bit of gunners before we got into killing them, and we did really well there with all of those sneak attack criticals, and the ones that we didn't kill with sneak attack criticals, they certainly went down a lot faster than the vanilla assault rifle could throw at you. Also, I'm sorry to wake you up and sorry to kill you, but you just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. Also, she slept through all of that. Interesting. Okay. We'll go ahead and take this weapon somewhere else and use it there. Why not? Okay, there's a giant bunch of bears over there, including a giant bear. We'll just get stuck into them. No use in talking and messing around there. Lots of sneak attack criticals on that big bear, and whilst the sights are bouncing around to the point where I really can't see anything, it's such a big target that I'm able to hit them rather consistently anyways. So I've been smashing a lot of XCOM lately. I've been sort of talking about it in sort of mentioned in passing during these videos, but in XCOM I've got all my Fallout 4 characters as like XCOM operatives, which is kind of fun to use. Bridget got captured the other day. I need a rescue her. I'm not sure when the game's going to allow me to do that, but yeah, she's going to get a cool rescue mission. And what Phoebe is, which is the person I'm playing right now, she's like the grenadier, which I guess means like the heavy weapons person. I think that's like the equivalent of heavy back in the first one, although with a couple of different gadgets, like a grenade launcher, which is pretty neat. But yeah, so this weapon kind of suits XCOM Thebes, I guess, so yeah, that's pretty good. Also, that is a Dusky Yaoguai that we just knackered in just a few seconds there, and I do believe this guy's got himself stuck, which is rather unfortunate for him. But you know what, let's bring out our 5mm one. See how this thing can do. The sounds on this thing, you might have been wondering where they come from. They actually come from Battlefield 4. I actually got some of the sounds. Someone ripped them and put them on Gun Network as like a mod resource. So I downloaded a few and just gave some of the vanilla weapons some Battlefield 4 sounds, which makes them a lot more satisfying to use, because for the most part, the vanilla sounds in this game aren't too great. But I guess mixing them with the hyper-realistic sounds of Battlefield 4 kind of doesn't really work, but it does make the weapon a little bit more unique, that it is not using the same sort of sounds as a regular one does. And this thing does fire with the semi-automatic sounds. It doesn't use the regular full auto sounds, which is kind of odd, but sure, I'll take it. It seems to work pretty well with the semi-auto sounds alone, but usually there's a problem when they don't really loop properly. Also, there's a raider over there. We'll go ahead and pop his or her head off. There's another one over there, and there's probably got a doggo with them as well. Oh, we didn't actually kill that one from over there. Yes, we're seeing a little bit of the range falter at this range, but yeah, I'd probably use a Gauss rifle at this range anyway, so probably punching above its weight in terms of range, but yeah, it seemed to work fine. We've got enough damage to back up that. But that's enough of me talking. You've probably get the point of this thing. I'll have a link in the description for this weapon if you'd like to see it in your game. Probably on PC and Xbox alike. Skibata usually does a lot of cool stuff. He also makes a lot of cool Creation Club stuff. So that is why the weapon skins and camos are top tier, because yeah, they're good. So yeah, links will be in the description. So will the Phoebe Companion mod. That's for all platforms too. So PS4 players aren't missing out on everything here, I guess. Thank you for watching.